I just finished spending 2 weeks on the Pirate Software Game Jam, and I should probably take a break. But on a whim, I joined the Game Maker Toolkit's 2024 Game Jam. The theme of this Game Jam is Built to Scale. This can be interpreted as anything that changes size, or something is really large, or something is really small. Really, any way you can interpret the word scale. I recently built a desk for my animation disc, which was featured in my previous devlog. This game jam would be a perfect excuse to do some animation on my new desk. I started sketching ideas. I thought it would be fun if the player could grow or shrink some sort of little creatures and guide them safely to their goal, similar to the Lemmings games. The player could make the creatures really small to fit through tight spaces, or really big to walk over huge gaps. I decided to make the game Halloween themed, so instead of small creatures, the character would be moving a parade of pumpkins to the goal. In this case, the goal would be a truck on its way to the farmer's market. So once I had my idea, I started working on my game. Here I am at my animation desk, sketching out the rough animation for the pumpkin. The pumpkin sort of bounces up and down as he walks. Once I'm happy with my bouncing up and down pumpkin walk, I start doing cleanup animation. For each drawing, I get a new sheet of animation paper and trace a black line version of the drawing onto the new sheet. Here I am checking to see how the animation is working by flipping the drawings. Usually when I make a game for a game jam, I draw up some temporary artwork. When I started building this game, I used some artwork from one of my previous games as placeholders. I wanted my player character in this game to shoot little pellets, similar to the way Mario shoots his fireballs. I wanted it to be sort of a lob with a few bounces after the throw. I just didn't have any luck. I tried several different things. I watched a few different tutorials, and everyone was doing it differently. I didn't have any time to keep spinning my wheels, so I settled on having him shoot in a straight line, which is something I had done in a previous game. Here I'm using some red monsters as stand-ins for my pumpkins. I'm testing out shooting the pumpkins to make them shrink. When they're small enough, they fall through the gaps in the floor. In the final game, there will be a truck that the pumpkins get loaded into. For testing, I just put a rectangular polygon at the end of the level. Here I am testing out, guiding all the pumpkins to the end goal. I wanted there to be a sort of puzzle aspect to my game. You would change the size of the pumpkins. Bigger pumpkins would be able to cross small gaps, and smaller pumpkins would fall into them. If the pumpkins fell through the wrong gaps, I wanted to have moving platforms to lift the pumpkins back where they should be. The player's ability to shrink and grow elements isn't just limited to the pumpkins. Here I am creating an animation of a shrinking gate. These gates will block the way for the pumpkins unless the player shrinks them down. I go through the same process of rough animation, cleanup animation, and flipping through my drawings to see how the movement looks. I thought it would be fun if the player's health was represented by apples, which are keeping with my harvest theme for the game. When the player's health decreases, the apples get bites taken out of them until they are just apple cores. The player would pick up apples to replenish their health. I had the idea to hide these apples inside barrels. When a player shrunk the barrel, apples would spill out. I had some fun developing this idea, but the apple barrels would never make it into the finished game. I didn't do much design research for my main player character. I just animated a little farmer character running that was very similar to a character that I had animated on a previous game. This character took the longest to animate of all the sprites in the game. To bring my drawings into the computer, I shoot the individual frames with my camera. If I used a flatbed scanner, I might get more consistent results, but shooting with a camera and using the Dragon Frame software is way faster, and I'm able to preview my animation as I'm shooting. For the monster jack-o'-lantern, I animated his body, his face, and his vines, and his fire effects all separately. I didn't want to have to draw the pumpkin body for every frame, and I plan on overlaying the fire over his eyes and mouth with a transparent effect. Once I had my drawings finished and photographed, I brought them into After Effects to adjust their brightness and contrast, to get rid of the paper texture and make the lines darker. In Adobe Animate, I convert the drawings into vectors and fill them with color. I color the layers of my jack-o'-lantern animate separately and bring them into After Effects, where I set the fire to partially transparent and I add a bit of wiggle to the lines of the jack-o'-lantern. Once all of my assets are colored, it's just a matter of going in and replacing my temp sprites with new animated sprites and changing some of the collision shapes to match the new sprite sizes. I have a few things left to draw. I need a background, some new tiles for the walls and floor, and a truck for the end goal of each level. And here's the final gameplay with all the new artwork added. I created 2 easy levels with just pumpkins. On the 3rd level, I added the monster jack-o'-lantern that is terrorizing the player. When the jack-o'-lantern touches the pumpkins, they catch on fire and stop moving. You have to shoot a pumpkin that's on fire to get it moving again. That's it for this devlog. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already seen it, check out how I made my video game Dinosaur Chiller Creepy Theater. I made that game with stop-motion clay animation. If you'd like to see more of what I get up to, be sure to subscribe. Thanks again for hanging out with me. Take care.